Hey guys, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to do another book haul revisit. And this one is from March 2019, so 2 years ago. And for those of you who haven't seen me do this before, this is a kind of a series that I've been doing where I look back at old book hauls and kind of see of those hauls or of that haul which books I read and which ones I haven't read. And then from the unread pile, I pick one and put it on next month's TBR. So I'm going to go through this haul, and of the ones I haven't read, if there are any, then I will pick one and it'll be on my April TBR. So let's go ahead and take a trip down memory lane. Hey guys, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to share with you a book haul, my first book haul of 2019. I've been really good this year about buying books. I wasn't intentionally not buying any. I just didn't feel like buying any books. Other than my book of the month picks, which I've actually been reading at a regular clip also. So I've been doing really well there. But my birthday was at the end of March, and I got some birthday money and decided to treat myself to some books. So I got onto Book Outlet and I got 7 books. So I'm going to share those with you now. So the first book that I picked up is one that I'm going to be reading for my local book club's quarterly read. We do a monthly read, and it's always a book that is either being turned into a movie or has been turned into a movie. But our quarterly reads we kind of just do as extra, just kind of for fun, and they can kind of be anything. This one though does also happen to have an adaptation, but that book is Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. The only Margaret Atwood I have read is The Handmaid's Tale, and I really enjoyed it. And this one sounds really good. I did not realize how big it was when I bought it, but it's like a 560-page book, so it's kind of a big one. But it's about a woman named Grace Marks who is imprisoned for murdering her employer, I believe, and his housekeeper. And she's imprisoned, but she has no memory of committing the crime. Yeah, it sounds good. Okay, so I did end up reading Alias Grace, and I think it was a 3-star read for me, and I think it was because the book was so long and it felt really long. I did find the story to be interesting and Grace to be an interesting character, an interesting person, but the book just dragged too much. And then I did watch the Netflix adaptation and I thought it was okay. It also seemed a little bit slow for me, but anyway, so yeah, I read that one, and like I said, I think it was a 3-star if I'm not mistaken. The next book I picked up from Book Outlet is And the Trees Crept In by Dawn Kurtagic. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. This is a horror novel, spooky novel, about these 2 sisters who move in with their aunt, and pretty much immediately when they move in, they realize that this old house that they live in is definitely like cursed, haunted, what have you. They're surrounded by forest, and they start to kind of notice some creepy stuff. One thing being that it seems like the trees are moving closer and closer to the house, and they start seeing some creepy people. And I've heard that this book is actually really creepy. Okay, so I did read And the Trees Crept In, and I loved it so much. It was almost a 5-star read. I can't remember exactly why I didn't give it 5 stars. But I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it had some great atmosphere. It was one of those books that it kind of played with fonts and things in the text, and the ending, for being like I believe this was a YA horror novel, I didn't see it coming. I was trying to figure it out, and I had some theories. I was wrong, so that was a nice surprise, and yeah, I really, really liked it. It was great, and yeah, it was, like I said, I think it was like a 4.5 out of 5. The next book I picked up is another horror novel, and it's an author that I have been dying to read for pretty much since I started my channel. I first heard of her from Julie over at A Girl in a Book, and she has really enjoyed this author, and I can't believe that it has now been 2 years and I still have not read any of her books. So I saw one on Book Outlet, I picked it up, and it is Within These Walls by Anya Alborn. This one is about a guy who is a true crime writer, and he gets contacted by this mass murderer who is currently on death row, who for years and years wouldn't talk to anybody. But he contacts this man specifically and wants him to write about his story. So this guy moves from New York to, I believe, Washington State. Yes, Washington State. Moves into this like creepy old farmhouse that I believe has some sort of tie-in to this murderer, and starts to experience some creepy stuff. So, okay, I also read Within These Walls, and I listened to it on audio like a year or two ago, and I enjoyed it. It definitely had more of a sort of cult, sort of Manson family-esque kind of vibe to it. The story, because the story actually is a dual timeline. There's a story going on in the present, and then it tells you about stuff that happened in the past. And so the story in the past had like very much like a Manson family vibe to it. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I do remember feeling like it was starting to drag a little bit, but then I remember really liking the ending. But I don't know if it was the audiobook narration or what, but it just didn't like blow me away. But I really liked it. I think I gave it 3 stars. And I have since read Brother by her, which I just recently read. That was also a 3-star book. So I like Anya Alborn. I definitely want to read more of her stuff, but I think I'm going to try to physically read her stuff from now on, because there's something about the audiobooks of her books that just don't jive. But yeah, it was a cool story. I liked it. 3 stars. So if you guys are keeping track, I have read all of the books so far, so oh yeah. Next up, I grabbed Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah. Earlier this year, I have read 2 of Kristin Hannah's books. I read The Nightingale, and I also read The Great Alone. I enjoyed them both immensely, and so did Bobby over at Bobby Reads Too Much. So we decided we were going to buddy read this book. So I think we're planning on doing it in June. And this book is basically just about 2 girls who become friends in, I believe, middle school, and it kind of chronicles their friendship for like a 30-year span. Okay, so I also read Firefly Lane. Bobby and I buddy read it. It was 3 stars. I remember liking it at the start of the book, and then as it got to the end and the 2 girls became women, and there's like this thing that happens that kind of tests their friendship and causes kind of a rift in their friendship. I wasn't a big fan of that. And then like the 2 friends, the one friend, I can't remember what her name was. It was like Tilly or Telly or something like that. I didn't really like her. I thought she was, I don't know. I thought she was kind of annoying and selfish, and I wasn't a big fan of her. So, and then the very, very ending, I was like, oh, come on. It was just too Lifetime movie for me. Yeah, I didn't really like it. So I've now read another Kristin Hannah book since this one, and this one is still definitely my least favorite of the Kristin Hannahs I have read. But I mean, if it sounds interesting to you, you should check it out, because I think a lot of people love this one. I just wasn't one of those people. And I know that there's a Netflix adaptation of this that I kind of want to watch, but I also don't really care to watch it. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on that. But yeah, this one was okay. 3 stars. I also picked up Columbine by Dave Cullen, and this is one that has been on my radar for quite a while that I have wanted to read. But what really pushed me over the edge and made me decide I had to buy it was Joni over at Joni Reads. She did a in-depth review of this book, and when hearing her talk about it, I was just like, I just have to buy it and read it as soon as possible. This is a very in-depth journalistic style account of what happened on April 20th, 1999, when the Columbine school shooting happened. Okay, so I've also read Columbine, and it was one of my favorite reads of last year. It was a fantastic piece of nonfiction. Dave Cullen, I feel like, really did his homework with that book. It was great. If you are at all curious about what happened that day, or the aftermath of that day, or even the things leading up to that day, because he goes into that too, you should definitely check it out. It's just, like I said, it's a fantastic piece of like journalistic nonfiction, and yeah, I loved it. Loved it. 5 stars. Next, I grabbed a book that was very popular last year. It was a very popular thriller. I, of course, have to wait until it goes into paperback, you know, because I'm cheap. That book is The Chalkman by Cj Tudor. This was one that, like I said, was talked about a lot last year. It is a book that is kind of given nods to Stephen King's It, which I absolutely love, but of course, a much smaller scale. But it's about a group of teenagers, and it bounces back and forth in time. It bounces between 1986 and 2016. So back in 1986, there's a group of boys, they're all friends, they hang out, and they use this kind of code where they leave each other little like chalk drawings to kind of tell each other where they're going or what they're doing or whatever. And one day they see a chalk drawing on the ground, and they follow it, and they find a dead body. And then fast forward to 2016, one of the boys is now, obviously they're all grown up, and he is a teacher, and he gets this letter, this letter in the mail, and when he opens it, there is the same chalk drawing on the paper. And so, yeah, he gets in touch with his old buddies, realizes that they all got the same thing, and then one of them also gets killed. So it kind of becomes I'm just gonna stop there because I did not like The Chalkman at all. It was a 2-star read. And I was really disappointed by that because I was super excited to read something that kind of gave a nod to It, because It is one of my favorite horror novels. As you guys know, coming of age horror is one of my favorite types of horror to read, or just coming of age in general is a you know, a genre that I really like. This one just, I thought it was so, I thought it was boring, first of all. And then the ending, like the reveal, there was like a reveal at the end, and I was just like, I don't care. And then this like other thing happens like the last page of the book, and I was like, other people that read it were like, oh, that made it like a 5-star book for me. Like, I loved that. And I was just like, no. Basically, I've sworn off Cj Tudor because it seems like all of her books do this, where she kind of takes something, and it's mostly Stephen King stuff, which is weird because I love Stephen King, but all of her books take something that Stephen King has done, and then she does like her own little thing. And to me, I'm not interested in that. Because this one just killed it for me. I just didn't like it. So I got rid of that book. It was a 2-star. Can't say I would recommend it. And then the last book that I picked up from Book Outlet is Lethal White by Robert Galbraith. This is the 4th book in the Cormoran Strike series. I've really enjoyed this series. I think the first 2 books were great. The 3rd book was okay for me. I liked it, but there were also things I didn't like about it. But I definitely want to continue with the series because, like I said, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy Cormoran as a character. I think he's great. I love his dynamic with his partner Robin. Okay, I'm just going to stop it there because I haven't read this one, but I did unhaul it because as time has gone on, I have lost interest in this series for a number of reasons. One of them being that this book is super long. Lethal White was like, it's like 600 or 700 pages, which for like a detective novel is just too long. And it focuses a lot on this kind of will they or won't they relationship with Cormoran and his partner Robin. And that kind of started in the 3rd book. I was not interested whatsoever in that aspect of the series. And I heard that Lethal White spends a lot of time on that, and I just don't care. And then also the synopsis or the whatever for the 5th book, I have absolutely no interest in. So I kind of was like, I think I'm just gonna give up on this series because I don't really care to, I know I don't want to read the 5th one, and even the 4th one doesn't really sound appealing to me. So I got rid of it. So I did not read that one. I unhauled it. Alright, so those were the books that I hauled in my little kind of end of March book haul in 2019. And yeah, it turns out of the 7, I read 6 of them and unhauled 1. So I don't have an unread one to pick for next month's TBR. I read them all or got rid of them. So that's kind of awesome. This is the second time that this has happened to me in doing these, and I'm kind of proud of myself because, you know, sometimes you get a little out of control with the hauls and then you realize, wow, I haven't read any of these books or whatever. So it's kind of nice to reflect and say, yeah, you know what? I bought those books. I read those books. Yes, awesome. So it's kind of a nice little surprise. So yeah, I guess I will end the video by asking you guys if you've read any of these and what you thought of them. I would love to hear what everybody thought of these books. Or let me know what you've been hauling or unhauling lately. Let's talk about it. So other than that, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I will talk with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.